All right. So in the previous example, we calculated the producer and consumer surplus for these numbers here. All right. We established the P star and Q star by setting supply equal to demand, finding P star, plugging that into either the supply or the demand to find Q star. Well, now what we want to be able to do is calculate consumer surplus when there's a shift in supply or the demand. So in this example, what we want to look at is what happens if the supply curve shifts. Meaning that this new supply equation is P is equal to just 2/10 Q. So with that new shift, we're going to find that the quantity, as we learned about earlier in chapter 4, should increase and the price should decrease with the resulting shift in supply. And so let's find that resulting price and quantity. Well, the first thing we do is take our supply equal to demand. So 2/10 Q is equal to 40 minus 1/10 Q. I'm going to add 1/10 Q to each side and get 3/10 Q is equal to 40. I'm going to invert this. So Q is equal to 400 divided by 3, which if I get my fancy pants calculator out, is about 133.33. So our new Q star is 133.33. I take that and I can plug it into the supply or demand. In this case, it might be a little easier to do supply. So times 2 divided by 10. And the new price, P star, is 26.67. So the price went down and the quantity went up. And so now we can calculate our new consumer and producer surplus. So consumer surplus, we'll just highlight in this triangle, is right there. So that's 1/2 times the base, which is now 133.33, times the height, which is 40 minus 26.67. So I'm going to use my calculator for this one. 40 minus 26.67 times 133.33 divided by 2. I didn't do that right on my calculator. Let's try that again. 40 minus 26.67. This number here is 13.33 times 133.33 is a really big number, divided by 2 is equal to 888.64. So that's consumer surplus. Producer surplus is this triangle right there. So producer surplus is 1/2 the base, which is also 133.33, times the height. In this case, the height is 26.67. So it's going all the way to 0. So 26.67 times 133.33 divided by 2. Producer surplus is 1777.96. So that's where we calculated producer and consumer surplus. Now, one thing to note from this, notice that from our previous example that we had, consumer surplus was 500, producer surplus was 1,000. Both of them went up. So notice that we have consumer surplus in two different categories. So consumer surplus with the lower price has this area right here. That area there is additional surplus to existing consumers. These are consumers who are willing to pay the price of 30 And now they pay a price of 26.67, so that's their additional surplus. We also get this small area right here, this triangle. This here is new surplus to new customers or new consumers. These are the consumers that would have would have consumed anyways, or that did not consume at the higher price, but now at a lower price are willing to consume. And we can calculate that same thing for producers. So if we're to look at producers, this surplus right here is existing producers that get more surplus, and this little triangle right here is new producers that get some surplus. And so when we see shifts, we see added surplus coming, both surplus to new consumers, those that enter the market with a different price, as well as old consumers and old producers that now get a higher surplus as a result.